Today on the Rebelcast, we will be talking about the nature of the spirit and how different cultures approach the meaning of it, whom all they had a common element connected to it, which we will discover in this podcast. This key element will allow us to have a better understanding to the nature of the spirit and how to implement it in our daily life. My name is Hassan Ismail, and you are listening to episode 8 of the Rebelcast. Before we start, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and activate notifications because it does help me create more content for you. Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining the podcast. So today we'll be talking about a very mysterious topic, which is the spirit. A lot of you believe that the spirit is some kind of elemental body we have or the source of life. But what if I tell you the spirit has a more deeper meaning than that? A lot of cultures approach the spirit in many different ways, yet they have one thing in common, which is air. Yes, the air we breathe was common ground between those cultures who studied the spirit. I read for you now some definitions of the spirit in some cultures so that you have a better understanding why the spirit is connected to the element air. In the Hindu culture, the spirit is called Atman in the Sanskrit word, which means essence, breath, or soul. So remember, it has a link with the breath. In the ancient Chinese culture, they call it qi, which translates as air, or some cultures translate it as air and rice. In the ancient Egypt, the word spirit is called ba, B-A, just those two letters, which is a soul depicted as a bird with a human head, and the bird is a symbol of air. As we know, in the ancient Egyptian symbolism, anything that has a head of a bird or a body of a bird means it has a correlation with the sky relative to air. In ancient Greek, it's called pneuma, the word for breath, and religious context for spirit or soul. In Hebrew, spirit is roch. The basic meaning of roch is both wind or breath. In Arabic, the word spirit is ruh, which has a root word rih, and rih means wind. As we saw, all of those cultures, if you go deeper in the meaning of the spirit, they had a different approach, yet they had a common ground, which is either wind or breath or air. So what's the correlation over here? That is why we are doing this podcast today, to discover this correlation between air and spirit. Because a lot of you had this misconception about the spirit, that it's just this source of life. But what if I tell you it's not? It has a lot more deeper meaning than just saying it's the source of life. My source of life is food and air and water. But the spirit has a lot more deeper meaning. The spirit has to do with something spiritual, something that is unseen. That is why we are trying to uncover this mystery of the unseen. That is what I like to do, actually. I like to uncover the mysteries of the unseen more than the seen. So, out of my study and my analysis through this type of topic, I started thinking, the air we breathe now, why it's more essential than the water or the food, and why it's related to the spirit. Why it's not fire, let's say. Why they didn't define it as fire? Because fire has less density than air. So why they didn't say spirit is fire? Why they gave it correlation with the element of air? Peace, everybody. I just traveled from the future to let you know that air is a wireless element that connects us with the Creator. That is why God breathed it inside of us. And once we practice righteousness, we allow that air to be the vessel for the Spirit to connect through us. I gotta go now, but I see you later in the past. May the Creator be with you. In relation to our physical body, air plays a very crucial and essential role in keeping us alive, more than water, more than food. Yet we need water and we need food, but air is what we need more. You can live without water for 3 days. You can live without food for 3 weeks. Yet you cannot live without air for a few minutes. That is why air is more essential than the other two. While you're watching me now, you are breathing air inside of you. While I'm talking now, I'm breathing air inside of me. Unconsciously, the process is being done. Yet, I can control it and make it conscious by breathing more air inside of me. And that's what they do in the ancient Chinese practice, Qigong. They call it Qigong. They practice some kind of movements synchronized with breath, which makes a healing technique for the body. They consider the body as a battery. It recharges once we breathe more air inside of us, combined with some kind of movements that we do. That is the approach of the Chinese Qigong, which also is connected to the element air. They believe that this Qi, the air, is actually the vital source of energy that we need. And they connected it to something called conscious breathing. Conscious breathing is when you breathe in and out in synchronicity with your physical body movements, with your stomach movements, with your respiratory movements, with your physical movements. It's all connected. And once you reach some type of high level in practicing Qigong, you reach some kind of Christhood body inside of you. You become a body of light, recharged, and you start doing some kind of mysteriously higher abilities than average people. That is what they believed in Qigong, which also connected to the word spirit. All that being said, after I analyzed more in this topic, I reached a meaning or a sense that the air around us is connected to what we say, to what we do, to what we act. All of those are connected to the air around us. Air is a living being that we need to reconsider. Same as water. It was discovered by the Japanese researcher and healer Dr. Masaru Emoto. He discovered that the words we speak influence the water particles. And he discovered that water is a living being. It reacts to what we say. Not just to what we say, also what we think. I'm gonna put a picture here of the water particles and the words said to those particles and how they reacted. If you say good words, the water particles change into a beautiful structure. If you say bad words, they become deformed. I believe the air particles act the same way once we speak. That is why words play a crucial role in forming our word. I went deeper into this research. In the mystic studies, in the Sufi realm, let's say, or in Kabbalah, or in the Hindu religion, they have words they speak. They call it some sacred words or divine words, like the names of God, the divine sound they do in the Hindu religion. All of those were connected in a way to the spirit. They believe that once they practice this type of words, they say more and more, they can reach a Christhood or a high level of consciousness or intellect that will allow them to connect with God, to unite with God. And that is, in its essence, the spirit. All of those cultures had a lot of many different common ground, yet they had all of this distance between them. Isn't that mysterious in a way? I just wanted to add that in the Hindu and the Sufi traditions, they practice the divine words while breathing in and out. Like Sufis do, they choose a divine name and they keep repeating it till they are almost out of breath. Then they breathe in the essence of the name. Also, we know that once we breathe air inside of us, the air we breathe interacts with every cell that is inside of us, especially the brain cells. And once we breathe this air inside of our brain, the brain cells get excited. As we know, atoms has electrons inside of it. Electrons get excited and they go from one level to another, and this excitation emits photons, light, which means there is light inside of us. We are beings of light. That is what we need to understand, and that is a crucial point that connects it to the meaning of the spirit. That being said, everything we say is connected to the air particles around us. Not just we say, everything also we do. Once we breathe in that air that interacted with our act, that interacted with our words, once we put it inside of our consciousness, inside of our body, it interacts with our brain cells and it starts emitting some kind of light, photons inside of us. Now this information can be good or can be bad. If you did something bad or say something bad, it interacts with the air particles on a very infinitesimal level. And when you breathe in that air particle, it becomes part of you. It ignites information inside of you. That is why in the mystic realms like Sufi, Kabbalah, Gnosticism and all that, they practice words, righteous words. They call the righteous words or the divine words of God, the names of God, attributes of God like wisdom, knowledge, love, mercy, compassion, all of those beautiful aspects. They practice them and they believe that they can reach a union with God. And once they reach that union, they receive the Spirit. In the Abrahamic religions, they call it the Holy Spirit. That being said, the Spirit is actually a level of intellect, a level of consciousness that a human being is capable of reaching through the words, through intentions, through acts that they do, that gets connected with the air particles on a very infinitesimal level. And once we breathe this inside of us, we start receiving this energy, this spirit inside of us. As been said in the Old Testament, in the Ezekiel 37, there's a small verse that says, I prophesied to them as God commanded me, and the breath, the Ruh, came into them and they lived. Also in the Quran, in 38:72, it's been said, in the name of God, the infinitely compassionate and the merciful. So when I have molded him and breathed into him of my spirit, then fall down to him prostrating. Where God was speaking to angels and told angels, once I breathe into him of my spirit, fall down to him prostrating. Breathe. So spirit was connected to the breath. That is why the spirit is all connected around us, because we are in a sense connected to this element of air. All of us are breathing air, consciously or unconsciously. This continuous manner, we're always doing it without even knowing. We just need it because it is essential for receiving of the spirit. Unlike water or the food we eat, yet water and food also get affected and becomes part of you. Whatever you eat, whatever you drink, also becomes part of you. But air is always happening in a continuous manner. That is why it has more crucial part of us. And it's connected to our brain. It's that vital force that keeps us alive to do our tasks. Yet, the tasks can be good or evil. Depends on how you react, on how you live, on what you say. Also, the air stores inside of it information, records information around us. Like, while I'm sitting here, the air particles around me, being a living particles, are recording the space-time fabric around me without even me being conscious of it. 1,000 years ago, that same place I'm sitting today, if somebody was crossing, this information was stored in those air particles. The air particles witnessed this type of condition. And all of this information has been hidden from us. They just tell you the spirit is a source of life. You don't have to know more than that. Yet, the spirit has a lot more deeper meaning than this. The spirit actually is this type of connection, deep righteous connection, that through it we can reach a higher consciousness of being, and we can influence our life to be good or evil. And it's connected to God. It's this deep righteous connection to God. And a lot of us are being ignorant about this deep meaning for the spirit. Yet we need to all be informed about it. And I need you all to comment your thoughts. I need you to tell me, what do you think about the spirit? Because this is all part of my research. I'm still working on it to get more deeper sense of this mysterious essence of us that we call spirit. And I'll do more and more research about this topic to get a better understanding, and I will share it with you in many different podcasts. That is what I wanted to say today. I hope you understood what I said. I just had the feeling to say it because I really wanted to share it with you, because it's very, very important to get to know the true meaning of the spirit and how it's connected to us. Thanks so much for listening to me. My name is Hassan, and you are listening to the Rebelcast. Peace, my friends. I would really appreciate it if you like, share, subscribe, and activate notifications. It really pushes me forward to create this content for you. And don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. I'm gonna leave my link in the description box. Thank you so much. May the Creator be with you.